Ok, dobrodošli na dogodku Nicolasom Keramidasom pred Mestno hišo.
I don't understand, sorry.
Yeah, he doesn't understand. He's a bit slow that way. So he's been here 2 days. I don't know what's going on.
I still not speak language.
Nicola, tell us, I think the story why you came here is interesting. You came to hunt.
Yeah, I came to hunt. And there are a lot of dragons in the city. And no, more seriously, in fact, there's a street artist called Invader. And he's doing like mosaic stuff. And he's got a big exhibition here in Ljubljana. And when he do an exhibition, he often try to invade the city. And invading the city, it's putting different mosaic everywhere in the city. And so there's a kind of game with this. And so I came to Ljubljana to take a picture of every mosaic he has put in the city, and also go to the exhibition.
And you're a really big fan of Invader, I imagine. Show people your. He's actually has a tattoo of Invader and everything.
Yeah.
And like every time we're walking around, he's no stop. I have to get this Invader. And there's a whole game, and he's competing.
In fact, it sounds a little bit silly, but in fact, I think it's a very good way to discover a city.
Exactly.
When you don't know a city at all, and that was the case with Ljubljana. And when you don't know a city at all, you don't know where to start, where to go, what you want to see. Maybe there's a lot of things to see, not so much. And so with Invader, what's cool is that he often do like a very good trip in the city, and with beautiful things, but also not so beautiful and everything. And so I think that's a good way to discover a city.
Really cool. And you like it so far, right? You've been here one
Yeah.
day, and
Yeah. Yesterday was just a very cool day with a lot of things to see, in fact, and beautiful city also. Beautiful weather, but beautiful city also.
Cool.
I didn't know what to expect. In fact, it's fun.
We're really glad to have you here. I wanted to ask you, like the one thing that I think people here know best from you is like the Disney stuff that you were doing with Trondheim, like Mickey's Greatest Adventure, and that was like an interesting project. I was really surprised that, that Disney just let you do stuff, and you did a weird thing. I remember Trondheim telling me he was just like all the stories are cut up as if there's pieces of newspaper missing in between, so you only got to draw like the really fun stuff. You would go like from space into the jungle and somewhere else, and no need to explain the stuff in between.
In fact, it's at the beginning it's Jack Lena who succeed to have the rights from Disney and the authorization from Disney to that some authors can do their own stuff on Disney, and so I worked for 10 years for Disney, but the movie, and so I really wanted to go back on this, but on my own. So I had a talk with Jack Lena, and he said, okay, you can do one, and so we say. I thought that maybe it might be the occasion to work again with Lewisa Trondheima, and so I called him, and he said, okay, let's do one, and we didn't know what to do really, and just for me that Mickey was like Indiana Jones. For me it's adventure. It's sometimes it takes place in space, sometimes it's like in mountain, in the sea, and so I told Lewis that I want to draw everything, all those kind of sequence, and Lewis said, yeah, but we have just a short book, so we can't do everything, and he knows that I like very old stuff. I like searching for very old toys and that kind of thing, and so he made his way on this situation that maybe we could have found very old comics, and but not all of them, in fact, and so that's how we find the concept of just having the fun parts. And so for me it was because one page is in space, the other is in the mountain, and so maybe it will have took maybe 4, 5, or 6 pages to go back from the space to change to explain, and that thing we don't care anymore. So that was very the fun part, and yeah, I think it was a very fun to do.
That's really cool. And was it well accepted, like by the French public? Because I know
Yeah.
that in America they don't like. I mean, they don't like Disney comics so much, but in Europe they're huge. France,
Yeah,
Italy,
yeah, yeah. In France, it was very well accepted, and that's why we made a second one also, because it was a lot of fun, and we were surprised about Disney that we thought at the beginning that maybe it would be very hard for them to accept everything, and in fact in fact, as Lewis said, it's like Disney sharing their toys and say, okay, you can play with them. So we play with them, but we don't want to break them, okay, and we don't have the right to break them. So we just have to find the good balance of what we can do and know our limits, in fact.
Okay, but you told me that now Louis doesn't want to do it anymore because Disney thought that he was going to break their toys.
Yeah, in fact, the thing is that Lewis he likes to play, and so we play one time, we play 2 times, and I can see clearly that he like to see the limits, okay?
Yeah.
And so he thought about a third one, but when he told me what was the subject, I knew that it wouldn't work, because he knows that he has gone far away from the limits, and so when he says to Glenna, when he explains what will be the subject for the comics, Glenna told them about Disney, and Disney said no. And so Lewis, as someone said no, Lewis said, okay, no,
I'm not gonna
no for
play
me.
anymore.
Yeah, I don't want to play. In fact, Lewis has got so many works, and he just wants fun, in fact. So he doesn't want to start a comics with a lot of things that doesn't work, doesn't match, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, he can do it. He has like lots and lots
Exactly.
of projects at the same time, and it's fine. Yeah.
So we
He
will
can
do
cope.
one more thing with another thing with Lewis, another comics, but yeah, next year.
Next year. Okay. What is that gonna be?
It's about we can't really talk
okay.
about this, because in fact it's another Lewis concept.
Okay. But is it also adventure, or is it?
Yeah,
adventure?
it's in the spirit of Mickey, but without Mickey.
Okay. Okay. It's like a little cat that looks like me. Cool. I was gonna ask you, how did you? Because you work a lot, I think, with with this sort of like new wave of French comics, But you're sort of the second generation, I think. I mean, the generation that comes a little bit behind them, like you and Obion and like all of the guys who were around, like Atelier Mastodon and so on. And you have a slightly different style. You have a less sketchy, more poppy style. So it's an interesting collaboration, I think.
In fact, it's for me. It all begins because when I drew, when I read comics, I read a lot of different things. I read like Johannes Farr, Lewis Trondheima, but I also read things very popular, very fantasy, very, and it's like in music, it's like in theater, and in fact, I like a lot of different things. I'm not only in something very focused or something like this, and I've already I've been a big fan of Lewis Trondheima for a long time, and once I asked him if I can draw a donjon, and it's funny because I thought that maybe Lewis would not know my work at all, but in fact he knew my work. He didn't like it, but he told me that he saw me sketching outside of my books, and he said that I really loved it.
Okay.
Because in fact I came from Walt Disney, and so I think we were like a bunch of people working for Disney and doing now comics, and we have that kind of maybe sort of way of sketching, in fact. And so I did one donjon. I really loved it and become a really good friend with Lewis. And now it's funny because I think the fantasy part and all those stuff I did with Soleil at the beginning, this is not what I want to do anymore. And now I really want to, I feel way much more comfortable working with Joan Sfar and that kind of thing, because I think that suits me well, in fact. And doing Mickey stuff and that kind of thing. I really like that kind of way of drawing now, that with all these details and things I try to do.
Because like the stuff that you did before, like for Troy and those sort of things were in a different way. Were more
I think it was
Disney-esque.
way much more like semi-realistic stuff.
Okay.
And I think at one I really love to do both at one point, because it was cool to do Luna, because it was semi-realistic when you drew the forest, the village and that kind of stuff. You have to be kind of realistic. And I did Alice with Tebo, and it was completely just simple drawing, very sketchy, and but with a lot of details. And I think it was good to kind of have the possibility to do both things. But now I don't want to do some realistic stuff anymore for the moment. But you see, it's I think if you do semi-realistic, you have to be like very good in anatomy, good at everything, and that's not what I want to do. I think my strong is not in this way. And
because it's more expressive. I think the stuff that you do here, like with all of the gestures and stuff, is really expressive.
Yeah, it's animation stuff and that kind of thing. But I tell you that. But the last book I did is an autobiography, a graphic novel about what I had about my operation of open-hearted, and this was a very not easy book of doing, because it was my first book I did alone, and it's 200 pages in colors. I did the colors also, and so I did the scenaries, the drawings, the colors for the first time, and it's taking place most of the book in a hospital, and so I have to do a lot of research. I have to do very good documentation and that kind of thing. And in fact, I had to do everything that I don't like. But it was for the book. We can do another thing. So I'm very happy to have done that kind of book. But
I'd like to see that, because it just sounds so much different from what you normally do. Like not comical and not.
But it was so cool to, after this, go back on a project with Joan Sfar, the next book. It's called Commando Barbare, and it's just completely silly.
Commando Barbara.
Commando Barbare. Barbarian Commando.
Okay. And it's just like just fantasy and just slashing
just
and swords and
stupid things and stupid monsters, and
perfect.
And I really love to do this.
Okay, but this autobiographical thing is like what yesterday when we were talking over dinner, you said what you were one of the first babies that they did the open heart surgery on.
I got a surgery open-hearted in 1973, and I really do think that it's the first baby. But baby, I mean, some adults have already have that kind of surgery, but on a baby of my age, it's one of the first.
Okay.
And so it makes me, it was okay, and I got a life like other children, in fact. And it's just 5 years ago, as I'm playing soccer, my heart suddenly beats a little bit too much, and I send an email to my doctor and say, I didn't like yesterday, it was strange, and he told me, I've got to see you right now. And,
Okay.
and after this we did a battery of of research, and they say, okay, we have to open again.
Okay.
And so when I've heard this, I decided, and my wife too, to take some notes, and these notes goes on, and I did a comics about this.
So the comic is about this surgery you had now, but
Yeah, but
like in
I'm
return-
talking
about
the first part is
Okay.
when I'm child.
And now you're generally okay, or do you have to go in for some other stuff? Yeah.
Maybe some other, but no more open-hearted.
Okay.
Now it will be
Okay.
just like
With the catheter inside.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
But
Wow.
but I can play soccer again, so that's just
Yeah, it has to be
amazing.
a strange feeling when you know rationally that you owe your life basically to
Yeah.
to the fact that you were just the first baby that
Yeah,
they were
yeah,
able to do this on.
it's kind of.
If you were one baby sooner, you maybe you wouldn't
That's
be
what
here.
the guy at the hospital told my parents. That 10 years before I would be 10 years before, and I was dead.
Yeah.
So I think it was not a good thing to say to the parents, but
Yeah. But okay,
okay.
it's an interesting thing to live with. Yeah. Do you have any brothers and sisters as well?
yeah,
or-
brother, one brother, younger.
Cool. And so you're working on this project you said with Svar now, and doing another one in Trondheim, and what the ones with Svar, this Commando Barbari, you have 2 books out there now already.
In fact, it's free. It's in fact there's a big comic which I finished it last week. Last week,
Okay.
just like we, because it's a 100 pages, so it's a big and fat book. And after this, there is also a role-playing game on the same subject, in fact, and an illustrated book. So Joan will write.
It's a whole universe of that, like role
Joan
playing.
will write a story, and I will illustrate it. And role-playing game, it's another company who makes scenarii.
Okay.
And they just send me the
specifications.
yes,
how you have to-
specifications, because the character I have to design and that kind of stuff.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
But did you test it? I mean, now there's one book outside already, and it's got like a readership, and people
No,
are
no, no.
into... No.
The book is ready, but it's coming in September, so we don't know.
Okay, so you don't know how
No,
it's gonna...
no,
Okay, that's gonna be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Yes, Farah, I guess, is really into role-playing games, and you as well.
Yeah,
This is
exactly.
how apparently like, the whole Donjon thing started as well.
Yeah, that's where it all starts, in fact, because at once on Facebook, Joan put things about Donjon and Dragon and that kind of thing, and I say, and I just send a comments and say I want to do that kind of thing, and a friend of us who knows each other send us a message in PM and say, okay, let's do a thing together. And no, he say okay, you do the thing and I published it, and he works for Glenna. And and Joan say, okay, I'm serious, I want to work with you, Nicolas. And I say, okay. So we went to a restaurant, all three together, and we discussed about what we like, Donjon role-playing game, Donjon and Dragon, that kind of thing. And after the lunch, we have that sort of universe we want to work with, and so we start.
Great. That's what I really like, sort of, about the French comics, and it's always really fun to talk to creators because there's a lot of this playing around. What do you like? You like to do this. I like to do that. Let's do stuff together, and it's so.
No, but it's
really nice.
it was really right. It was really fun, and I went back to the city where I live, and I think maybe 1 week later, Joan sent us half of the scenery. And he was like.
Just really threw himself into it.
And he say, okay, it's called Commando Barbare, and it's blah 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 blah.
Cool. I'll get a copy. I think order it in and see what's going on. Cool. Okay. I think like for the basic web video, I think we'll stop now because otherwise I'm gonna run out of the battery, and people online have a short attention span anyway. So we wave bye from in front of town hall. Nico is gonna be here 2 more days and hunting for invaders. And yeah, we'll see you, se vidimo naslednjič pri naslednjem tem. Upam, da ste uživali. Čau!
Ciao.